Welcome, everybody. This is News Evolution, which happens when it happens every month. So great to be here. And we're with Laura Eisenhower. And yes, you're here. Susan Spirit Dancer, you're here and you're on the chat. And we're with Laura Eisenhower and Patty Greer. And I'm Alfred Lambremont Webre, and welcome everyone to News Evolution. So I'm going to toss it back to Laura and Patty to carry it from here.
Oh, well, Patty, you can go ahead. I mean, I know we're just gathering. It's very spontaneous. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to process. I don't know if you have something that you want to bring through right now. So if not, I'll carry on. But I bet you want to take it away, right, Patty?
Well, I like to think for the day before and the day of, what is the best thing I can bring to the table? Because we all have an interesting audience, and we want to be able to shake them up just enough, but not scare them off. And sometimes we just want to be able to put out our hands and help. And I realize that I am able to cope with just about anything now. I have seen unbearable rudeness. And so what I wanted to bring, and I'll just do a brief opening, which is called, I'm old, here's what I've learned. And it's things that I think about that really save me a lot of energy when things don't go my way. And all of you, congratulations. If you made it through 2020 and 7.5 months of 2021, we friggin' win, because this hasn't been easy. So my lessons are to, I think the greatest thing that came to me, and it's only sporadic, but I want it to be more often, is to not forget to bring your magic in. Like every day. And when I remember what it was like being in the crop circles, it reminds me to go outside, lean back, look at the sky, and see what I see, because it's so busy all the time, but I forget to look. So whatever it is that brings your magic to you, don't forget to do it more often, because, boy, that really brings me around. And then that little voice clicks in, and it really wakes up your interior, my interior at least. Another thing that really came to mind, I'm looking because I made little notes. Of course, I'm not putting my glasses on, but I remember that one of the great lessons I learned as never been on the back of a motorcycle, hardly ever, and then all of a sudden got divorced, had 2 kids, got on the back of some guy's amazing bike and went over Trail Ridge Road, Estes Park, Peak to Peak Highway. I mean, the most beautiful Colorado roads. And I was hooked. It was like, oh my God, I've got to get a motorcycle, because I'll bet you're not coming back tomorrow. And this is way too much fun. So I bought myself a bike, learned how to ride, and he was training me in the canyons of Boulder, Colorado. There's gravel, there's all kinds of stuff on the road. And I'd always slow down for the curves. And he'd say to me, which I'm telling everybody now, look to the end of the curve. It was the greatest lesson, because but the gravel, but, all the things that could stop me and lay me down on the bike. And he said, look to the end of the curve and you'll get there. And it was the hardest thing. But now, as I'm watching what's going on politically, and I keep hearing, hold the line, believe in the plan. And I don't care what letter you want to call it, but there's an intelligence that's been working with a lot of humanity that's willing to listen. And then there's this huge coordinated attack on the United States by completely another country. It's not really even Republican or Democrat anymore. There's so many bad, evil people that it's really another country, communism, trying to take over America as the last resort. So look to the end of the curve, trust the plan, hold your faith. And boy, that is the hardest lesson now, because things are tough. And they might get tougher for a while, but I am totally seeing the end of the tunnel. I hope you guys are too. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you think we're going to be at the end of the tunnel soon? Yeah? Yep.
Yeah.
So another thing that happened in all my films, and I'm just going to go quickly because it's really just about those little words, those little higher voice words. In all my films, I don't know where it came from other than that little voice. And it showed up in all of them. And then I had a little girl record it. And the words were this. And it was when I was peaking on visiting the crop circles. I went in more than 100 UK crop circles over 10 years. I was very devoted. I spent a lot of time. And these words showed up in all my films. And it was this young child saying, it's not what you see, it's what you don't see. It's not who you know, it's who you really are. And I thought that was so profound. I wrote it down in the middle of the night and I woke up like, where did that come from? A dream? But it was that little voice. And the fact that every film, as I was final editing, it was like, oh, drop that little sweet girl saying those words that I woke up with in the morning. And I think it's really apparent now, again, everything we're looking at, it's not what you see, it's what you don't see. So I think that was really pretty amazing. Another thing is the question that somebody asked me, because I've been very dedicated to being a truth speaker, and it got me in a lot of trouble is the only thing I'm going to say. So they asked me, would you rather save the world or savor the world? That's quite a question, isn't it, you guys?
Oh.
Would you rather save the world, which the three of us have been beating our heads against the whatever, or would you like to savor the world? And I think that at my sweet age, I'm starting to want to savor more, but I've also been hit with a few stunning tests. And this is my final lesson, which is you can't fix stupid. You can't fix evil. And when you step in and you think you can change someone for the better who is either of those two things, you're wasting your time. And I think that my hardest lesson was that in the last half dozen years, because 2 different times people attempted to end my life. And it was really serious. So I've had issues walking for the last 4 years, and it's not fun. It's really hard to go through this many treatments. And then a couple of years ago, somebody was worried about what I knew because he thought I knew too much. So he left uranium in my garage. And I don't even want to tell you, yes, I will. I've had 14 medical procedures since uranium poisoning, including the ambulance and emergency room where I reported to the sheriff. So I live in Boulder, Colorado. So nothing happened. My test is forgiveness. So all of us watching this mask shaming, this shot, we're going to just say shot in the arm, shaming. Make sure you act nice. Make sure you know that you can't change them, that you can step away. So those are my empowering tips. And now over to you, Laura.
Oh, I just, that was really beautiful. I feel like we're so on the same page. A lot of these sort of thoughts and revelations have come through, and here we are, Lionsgate. It's, August 8th. And it's pretty powerful. So I love the synchronicity of what showed up this weekend as far as what really needed to happen in my own personal world to be just on the right wavelength and like perception about what's going on. I know we've all been tested. And the thing is, we've been warning people about this for so long. So it's not like it's a huge surprise, but how quickly this is all manifested and how many people it's sort of been able to, hook into, friends, loved ones, family. It's trying to create this divide, but we can conquer that divide. We don't need to buy into that divide. So whatever that narrative is, which is more based to me in mind control and lowering our frequency so that things like 5G or any part of this dark weaponry that they use on us, I mean, it needs the programming for it to be successful. It needs us to be divided. It needs us to feel defeated. It needs us to be in such a lower energy for any of it to even work. When we raise our vibration or become that override frequency over these lower forces, then I feel like we de-weaponize all of this, and we begin to interact with this weaponry in a way that turns the weapon on them, because it didn't work, because we defied it through love and a higher level of consciousness. So this whole bifurcation process is what it is. But to me, it's more about who's in unity consciousness and who is in the divide and conquer. It doesn't matter what side you're on when you're in the divide and conquer. It could be, oh, well, I don't want to hang out with my family. And that's fine. I mean, people have to have boundaries. But when it goes into that toxic hatred of, oh, I don't want to be around you, you're just a stupid sheeple, and I can't believe you made that decision. It's like, no, we got to break that. And those that feel towards people like us and the information that we share or the choices we're making, that, oh, we're the detriment to humanity right now, that program and that narrative and where people are buying into that needs to go. And once that is gone, whatever our choices are don't matter as much, because the frequency begins to transmute and alchemize whatever sort of intrusion, dark weaponry, or infiltration that's taken place. The mastery is maintaining a love frequency. That's why people are able to create miracles. They're able to do extraordinary things that, and that's why many individuals are able to break the mind control programming, even if they were in secret space programs or under major MK Ultra, starting from childhood and infancy, that they can actually step back and be like, whoa, like Kathy O'Brien, a perfect example. She says, whatever about self-love, I'm going to embody and be the love that I am. Just being in that energy, nothing can penetrate that. And if there are many individuals out there that have been able to do it, I feel and know that the human race is capable of it as well. But as long as we stay in this lower energy, the dark weaponry is going to be successful. And I've said this redundantly over the years, that if it was enough to just spray us, inject us, all these different methods, chip us, abduct us, if that was enough, they wouldn't bother with the fake news. They wouldn't bother with the social engineering and the slow indoctrination that has taken place over the course of many years when people, enter the educational system, especially if they don't have a free mind. Many people go through the educational system, come out the other end in a really, really great place. Like you guys, Alfred, you have an incredible background in education, but you're not sitting there indoctrinated. You have been able to utilize the resources and the experience to the benefit of helping to wake up humanity. So if doctors, teachers, and people, police force, anybody that has a authoritarian position on the planet right now, because of their education background and calling, needs to take that calling to the next level and find that soul essence within themselves to really begin to see through and step back enough to be able to find that energetic connection to source energy. I'm not saying that they're not connected to source energy, but these sort of tactics and how the deep state plays out its agendas is to throw people into a survival chakra where their intuition and their higher mind guidance is no longer accessible. It's sort of like, okay, you do what you're told, your paycheck's at stake, and it all seems like this is something necessary for whatever reason. But we've all been through enough dark history to realize that most politicians and most individuals that are in this kind of control of any of the power structures are to be questioned. And I think the numbers are in our favor of people that are like, this isn't lining up. So there's many different types of people as far as how they're responding. You have your people that are cheering it on and they're like absolutely in agreement to it. You have those that are confused. They don't know what to do. They're in survival. They're just trying to take care of their family. They might not think it's as bad as it really is. And then you got those that absolutely know it, that have to go through sort of that passage of a lot of anger and grief and frustration because, there's only so much you can do. And like you were saying, you can't change stupid. You can't fix stupid. And those that are making that choice, they need to just experience their soul journey. I almost feel like it's not like a rescue mission, but I feel like to a certain degree, it is. But if we bring it back to the self, we rescue ourselves when we can listen to our intuition and higher guidance and say, maybe it's not a good idea that I drive down that road. It's raining. And, where we have discernment, where we have like fear that becomes caution and it becomes intelligence, but it doesn't dominate. It's just like, okay, it's an instinct. When we lose that instinct and we allow the vibration of fear to be handed over to somebody else to run us, to tell us on an authoritarian level what we need to do to be safe and okay, how are we operating at all? How would that person have any clue what works for us, our lifestyle, our physical body, our spiritual path, our belief systems, or anything like that? So it's an individual process, I feel. And when people take it upon themselves to go through that awakening, that great awakening, based in being brave enough to rediscover the self and all the amazing things we're made of, all the potentials that are here for us in this major time of initiation into greater ascension energies, human advancement into higher earth energies, it starts to become like, oh, wow, these are all catalysts. These are all challenges that can help me to reclaim the treasures that have been lost for thousands of years through all these different tactics, the same tactics they've been using over and over again. Nazi Germany, Lemurian Holocaust, the massacre of the Essenes and the Christ Templars, and the absolute infiltration of most of these secret groups that were once just kind of collaborating behind the scenes to maybe do good. So nothing is really trustworthy, and that's pushing us to the edge so that we can say, you know what, I'm going to let go of everything external and learn to trust myself, learn to find that truth frequency, learn to know what works for me. And then when we take that challenge upon ourselves and initiate ourselves into that level of empowerment, self-trust, and also the willingness to face that dark shadow and the stuff we don't really want to see, then we're able to see through the lies and deceptions, and we can navigate this human experience without just falling prey to whatever looks like the good guys. I'm surprised so many people think some of these individuals are the good guys. And they're very well-intentioned. A lot of them, they don't go into that toxic hatred or, they're going to follow every indoctrinated mindset to go against people. They're just confused. I do feel a lot of hope for those individuals, but the ones that I worry about the most, which I don't worry about, so that's kind of like a contradicting statement, but it's sort of more metaphorical or more just kind of like the ones that are going to have the roughest times are the ones that have bought into the hatred, the lack of love and respect, the ones that are really pushing the narrative to the point where they might never talk to you again, invite you over to a family gathering, or ever want anything to do with you again, because they're literally a product of the false news and indoctrination programs. So that's a whole other deal right there. I feel they're going to be assimilated into the AI. They already are. The ones that are kind of in the middle, that are lost and confused, that may have compromised themselves because they didn't have enough information, they're kind of sitting on the fence. I feel it's going to be an inevitable, I never say that word well, inevitable awakening for them as they see through whatever they still possess in their own mind as far as mental freedom. It's just getting more and more obvious. So you see a lot of these people in videos regretting these choices, saying, hey, we need to be heard. We're not being taken seriously. And messages being sent to them through whatever platform that they might be the big spreaders, where they're like, wait a second, I thought I did something to benefit humanity, and now I'm the culprit. So everybody's at a different stage through synchronicities or just the mishaps of being locked in a lower level of consciousness. People are getting information based on where their frequency is at and what they need for their greater soul growth. But there's no guarantee that in that greater soul growth that they're going to ascend or transcend what we're dealing with, or be able to overcome it. But if the consciousness can link into the truth frequency, regardless of what the physical goes through, how long it lives, how much is compromised, once a person reaches that place of truth within themselves, even if it's all different amongst us, but with that common thread of unity consciousness, mutual love and respect, caring for the earth, protecting our children, and doing what's right in our communities, I feel that we are going to nullify this mark of the beast. We're going to change the frequency of 5G, and we're going to advance it into 5D. but it's a very personal initiation that every individual has to go through within themselves to be able to add to that force on the planet. And I think that force is strong enough to turn all this around, even though there'll be a lot of casualties. But there's always casualties in war, and we know that death is not an end. But let's just pray and hope that people aren't going to get more immersed into the mind control, which to me is way more dangerous than any virus or any jab. Has it overtaken their mind? Are they somebody that's literally embodying a narrative of this divide and conquer, or false woke, to the point of not being able to come back to home base because they've literally bought the bait, and that dark technology is going to make it worse and worse for them, because there's no real breakthrough to change the frequency of these implants, chips, negative technology, and all the stuff that we've been inhaling with the, chemtrail or the geoengineering. So an awake soul is a lot more immune to all this. And we can turn this metal into gold. We have a left and right brain. The left brain, has a very logical and technological orientation. But if it separates from the soul matrix and the creativity and imagination and the gifts of what the right brain can give, the fact that it's lived so out of balance is the true vulnerability to being infected by this AI signal. That also leads to these sort of detrimental choices. But yes, there's a huge portion of the population that are just, wow, our lifestyles, our jobs, our careers, our children's education is all being threatened. And this is where we need to look to each other and say, we don't need them. We never did. This is a reunion to embrace about the power of the human spirit, what we're capable of, what our greater divine potential is. And we need to start gathering, talking more, and bringing this more to light and just cutting the cords. It's like, fine, I can't fly. Great. Well, I'm about to advance my DNA to the point where I'll fly there myself in my Merkaba consciousness body. And it's like they're basically saying, you can't do this or do that. Great. Well, guess what? As you strip all this away from me, I can remind myself that I can ignite all these greater spiritual gifts and abilities and upgrade my DNA and become this advanced being that is able to materialize things, all these different and vast spiritual gifts and abilities. Let's be glad they're rejecting us. Who wants to participate in it anyway? When we are being pushed to the edge to reclaim our treasures and advance ourselves through recognizing that our junk DNA is a treasure and it's going to provide us with everything we could possibly need to survive these times. And so if we can put our attention there and allow ourselves to shed light fully on our unconscious self so that we can recognize we're multidimensional and begin to upgrade our natural birthright and DNA template, the Matrix is the biggest joke. It's just like, have fun, guys, with your really pretty superficial and sad kind of life. And we're always here. And anything I feel can be healed the minute a person orientates themselves in that direction of truth. And it's not about following somebody else. It's about finding that truth frequency, finding that sovereignty, and being able to participate in community and unity consciousness, because they are bringing something important to the table that isn't based in mind control, social engineering, group mindsets, and programmed mentalities that actually bring down a lot of people and cause a lot of harm, because the person's not even in possession of themselves. So I'm seeing a greater community emerge that's not based in a guru leading it or some sort of person that everybody bows down to. It's much deeper and it's much more functional. It's appreciating the leadership within everybody. It's not all going to look the same, but to me, leadership is you're living your passion, you're living your truth, you're inspired to express it and be all that you are. And it harmonizes and synergizes with everybody else around you. And it becomes this well-working kind of like human ecosystem that can work with the planetary consciousness and the planetary body to generate abundance without currency. And we're being pushed to the edge to return to that. And it's not like living like Little House on the Prairie. It's also recognizing we're galactic. We're advancing in ways that are Earth-based in many ways, but changing the vibration of the Earth frequency to experience the higher Earth energies and reclaim these advanced civilizations without the threat of it being annihilated or genocided, because we've been there, done that. and the protection and spiritual immune system that we've grown through all these experiences will keep history from constantly repeating itself. And I feel like we're on the threshold of breaking these patterns to really enjoy the fullness of what this physical vessel is made of, what our soul energy and essence is made of, what our connection with the 0 point unified field is made of, and how much it links to this incredible global family, community, and galactic heritage that we're here to reclaim. And being pushed to the edge, to the brink of all of like it being destroyed and taken away, is the moment that we can say, I don't think so, and live it to the fullest. And forgive ourselves for maybe going through whatever we go through, to remember these things and to be very loving and forgiving to each other. We don't need to prop up people because they hold a great facade. That's the celebrity Hollywood world. We're in a rehabilitation process. Let's hold hands. Let's love each other. Let's not expect everybody to be this or that, but let's at least commit to being loving and supportive and a real, true spiritual community that doesn't need to be perfect or put on facades to be somebody that people give their power away to. That paradigm is dead as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, there's my, sounded like a rant actually.
It was brilliant. I mean, I salute the cosmic intelligence that is you and that is coming through you, because it was really such an integrated vision and of the intuition that we all feel. And so I feel it was a universal communication.
Oh, well, thanks. And if I wasn't making eye contact, I kind of go into this zone, and I don't know what I look like on camera because I tend to not look at myself when I'm, anyway, so I'll shut up. So I know, yeah, Alfred, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, this is it. For the past couple of weeks, I was asked to put together the Hispanic component of the international academic and civilian ufological community's response to the Pentagon, U.S. government's and UAP task force, which happened on June 25th, 2021. And actually, I was looking at the three of us, and the three of us come from the ufological community, or that's how I got to know all three of us. That's sort of where we come from. And so we're holding a multi-metropolitan international press conference on August 21st, 2021, which is anchored in the French world in Montreal and Paris by Jan Vadnais of Garpin, in the Anglo world by Ananda Bosman out of Vancouver, BC, and in the Hispanic world by Danny Morone. You've been on his program with me, Laura, in Argentina, and myself. And there are going to be almost 40 international ufologists coming to speak there and to respond to this event that occurred on the 25th. And if people can go to exopolitics.com, you'll see links to all of the documents there, so you can bring yourselves up to date. It's in English, it's in Spanish, it's in French, and this is truly planetary and international. And so what I'd like to share with you today is I made 3 different contributions, but the particular contribution that I'm going to make today is a 6-minute video, because I discovered, I think, that the entire deep state UAP report is a psyop and a cover-up for something else. And so here goes the here goes the 6-minute video, and let's see this technically this all works. Community's response to the Pentagon, U.S. government, and UAP task force. This is a response of exopolitical originator Alfred Lambremont Webre and of exopolitics.com. Diversionary hoax, quote, leak of, quote, 8 alleged types of advanced UAP propulsion technology, end of quote. How the CIA deep state, using textbook spycraft, continued its highest level national security cover-up of 8 types of quantum access time travel technology used by the, quote, chronography secret time travel government for planetary social control by creating a diversionary hoax, quote, leak of, quote, 8 alleged types of advanced UAP propulsion technology to a favored and intelligence malleable UFO researcher and Rhodes Scholar finalist, Richard Dolan, who in turn served as an unwitting publicist of CIA deep black disinformation. What was covered up is 8 types of quantum access time travel technology. On June 29, 2021, UFO researcher, ufologist Richard Dolan reported in a video seen here that he was leaked information on the UAP task force report leaked to me today, 8 different quote, classified advanced propulsion systems. This is a hoax. It's classical CIA spycraft technology and a diversion. Energy propulsion systems, ion propulsion systems, anti-gravity propulsion systems, antimatter propulsion systems, ramjet hydrogen propulsion systems, compressed nuclear propulsion system, 7, advanced use of exotic elements for energy research, 8, the K-Song energy propulsion system. That is a diversion, and Richard Dolan acted as an unwitting publicist for the CIA and deep state's black propaganda. In fact, what was being covered up were the 8 modalities of US government quantum access time travel technology that had been brought to public light by US chrononaut from the CIA DARPA quantum access time travel program by US chrononaut Andrew D. Bashago. In his article, The 8 Modalities of US Government Quantum Access Time Travel Program. Number 1, remote viewing, as was developed by the US military in the 1960s before it was supposedly developed at Stanford Research Institute. Number 2, spitting to induce out-of-body experiences. 3, the Montauk chair was reverse engineered from the pilot seat aboard a crash ET craft. It uses magnetic transduction to boost human consciousness forward in time. 4, the teleporter, which opens up a vortal tunnel in the fabric of time-space through which the teleportee passes from point A to point B in several seconds, was invented by Nikola Tesla. It uses the field of radiant energy to open up the vortal tunnel in time-space. When the tunnel in time-space closes, the teleportee often finds footfall in the location where the tunnel closes, either in real time or in past or future. Number 5, the chronovisor was accidentally discovered by Vatican musicologist Ernetti and Gemelli, the advanced chronovisor was developed from a TV-like screen into a standing cubical hologram of moving multicolored lights by the U.S. defense contractors under DARPA after the Vatican gave the chronovisor technology to the U.S. government. Number 6, the Stargate is a Tesla transporting that so concentrates the radiant energy that it derives from the quantum hologram that it can send the teleportee vast distances in time-space. Once inside the vortal tunnel, the teleportee can see that the tunnel is identical to the tunnel walls of bluish-white holographic light. Number 7, the plasma confinement chamber invented by Dr. Sterling Colgate. And that was used to take Andrew D. Basiago, sent to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania to 1863 from the spring of 1972, as seen in the Josephine Cobb image. And finally, the jump room or repositioning chamber arc was a joint venture of Parsons and Lockheed's, being reverse engineered from an extraterrestrial device and is used as from the Mars jump room. Thank you very much. Okay, so what we were able to do was to show, using witness and using evidence, we were able to expose the entire UAP report of June 25th that all the ufologists are running around as a psyop that has been used by the deep state, in which they said, oh, we're going to leak now to Richard Dolan, who is a malleable ufologist, and we could get more deep into him and his but we won't go there. And to say, oh, Richard Dolan says, oh, I would just leak the document on the 8 types of advanced UAP propulsion. And what it is a cover-up of the 8 types of quantum access advanced time travel, which is what the deep state is covering up. So the CIA, Pentagon, deep states UFO program is really a psyop to cover up its quantum access time travel program. And I was just in a conversation with Andy Basiago today, and because he's now coming out with a book on time travel, and I'm coming out with a book called The Chronography, which is a secret time travel government. And we agreed that the Pentagon is moving ahead to cover this up because he and I are both coming out with our books. So we show that we're on full target, baby. So that's what I wanted to share today. And I'd love to have both of your comments on that, because both of you have deep connections to everything that I just said.
Yeah, Laura and I were at the gigs with those people, and Richard was always very popular, very nice guy. So it's interesting. You saw my jaw drop, maybe. You know, I'm always surprised when people are brave enough to name those with evidence that are working with the 3 initial groups that may not be working in the best interest of us. When I left ufology, when I was in ufology making all my films, I was around the most amazing people I'd ever met. And when it started getting dangerous, at the end of my career, I was very severely hurt, and I never went back. I got the message, you're telling the truth, get the F out of here. And it's like, I didn't have any idea how big it was, what we were up against. I was just like sweet girl in crop circles, like, la, 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 la. Oh my God, this is so beautiful. I want to show my family. I want to film it and take it back and share it with my friends. This is 409 circles that happened on a rainy night, 3 hours of darkness, flawless Fibonacci sequence spirals. And on a rainy night, my friend was there at 5:30 in the morning, not a footprint anywhere. So my films proved that crop circles are coming out of the earth, and it's scientifically proven. They're not coming out of the sky. They're not UFO. They're not unidentified. They're not coming out of lasers, out of craft or military craft. They're actually an earth communication. And my films clearly proved it. I didn't realize we'd get into this, but you totally triggered what happened to ufology, in my opinion. When I was there, when I met Laura and we were doing all the gigs together, oh my God, there were so many great people. Jim Mars, he's dead now. Stan Friedman, he's dead now. Dolores Cannon, she's dead now. Cynthia Crawford, she's dead now. I mean, I don't want to keep going because most of the people I filmed are dead now. And all three of us, I believe, Laura was very vague about the dark energy weapon. Yeah, okay, we'll call it that, the DEW, the dark energy weapon, that each of us, I believe, was affected by. And it changed my life. I know that, but I'm not ever going there again, treading, pointing, naming, ever, because I don't want to play in that field. But I do want to mention that my films are free. cropcirclefilms.com/free/. And this won a couple of awards. This is my fourth film. This is my first film. And what I love is that both of them feature Janet Osebard. And I don't know if you know who she is, but when I was in the crop circles, there were the real crappies. When I was in ufology, there were the real ufologists. And that's kind of the cool thing about being older and feeling like, you know, if I can save you guys a lot of time, you know, if they're stuck on stupid, don't think you can change them. You know, if they're obviously doing devious things, don't expect them to be good to you. It's not, you know. So my final film, Crop Circle Diaries, I brought the real science, which is that crop circles are spinning plasma vortices coming out of the earth. But the reason I believe I went through such horrific suppression like what people are experiencing now with their YouTube channels and all that, I experienced it with Amazon Vimeo. I mean, everything. I was in the early test program of let's mess with her because we can't let this information get out. But the punchline is crop circle seeds are super seeds if treated correctly after they're cut, and they can grow 30 to 400% more food and biofuel per plant. I had 3 different distributors, not one of them distributed. They were all horrific to deal with. They didn't want my films to get out. So I kept thinking, you know, I had a chance. Anyway, here I am. I lived, I win. And I just want to mention as my punchline, solutions, because I don't think a lot of people could have survived the uranium poisoning that I just did. I don't think a lot of people could have survived a directed energy hit, which I did. And I don't know if you guys did. I know I did. And I've had medical procedures. I'm really just wanting my life back. But on the other hand, I love this new life. You know, when everything else kind of slows down, everything else lights up if you're smart enough to say, I choose to keep living. So my quick remedies, I want to tell everybody, I just had to give up a kitty who was peeing all over my house. And I bought myself a bunch of rose quartz. I decided that, you know, if I want to help myself, I'm going to surround myself with some love stones. I also moved into a new place, did all this renovation. This is on my list for tonight, sage, but this is a female sage that's got rose dried into it and different herbs. Kind of a nice thing to do for yourself when you're ready for change. Hello, new moon. What do you say? Let's go. Change. Another thing, have a tool where you can speak with your higher self or where you can communicate beyond what you think you know. Mine is a pendulum. Alfred has seen this pendulum a few times. It's pretty big one. It's a huge crystal, but everybody's got a necklace. that they wear, that they love. You can take your necklace off and learn to use it. I've put out videos in the past that are how to use a pendulum. Highly recommended. And the last thing is something that Alfred and I have done for a while. Laura just started. I'm not sure she loves it yet, but I think this is why I'm still alive, swear to God. C60 Evo. It's pure C60, carbon 60, the miracle molecule, and I think it saved my life. It's brought me back. Alfred's been promoting for the company for a while, C60 EVO, which I thought was interesting because our show is called News EVO, Evolution. My company is called C60 Evolution. So we titled it C60 EVO. But this stuff is changing people's lives. And as people went through that, accepting the thing in the arm, the ouch shot in the arm, a way to get around that, you know, we're going to have a lot of remedies that may or may not work. This stuff will help because it's more than 172 times more powerful than vitamin C, but it does so much more that we're just learning all the time through testimonials. Alfred said, you know what? I've done it now for years. I want to take a little time off. So he took time off, and a month later he came back and said, oh my God, brain farts. I had 3 today, and he got right back on it. If you just want to take a minute and say something about your experience, and I don't know if Laura wants to, but I love having you guys taking the product that I think is going to save a lot of people's lives as we move through this unbelievable historic challenge.
Yeah, well, you know, in fact, I had a couple of magazines publish an article that I wrote because I'm both a graduate psychotherapist, an MED from the University of Texas, 1997, as well as a lawyer, a JD from Yale Law School, 1967. And this is what I said. I'm going to read it just so it's you know, in my professional opinion, I believe I have made a preliminary working discovery that ESS60 can function in humans, specific humans, as a powerful and beneficial mood stabilizer and counterdepressant with none of the potential negative side effects of SSRI antidepressants, and can contribute to high functioning euthymic positive mood and work output among individuals with a chronic mood disorder such as depression. And there's a phenomenon that has occurred, especially now in the last 18 months, of what we'll call the P. Everybody knows what the P is. And that is of what we call smiling depression, especially since you have to go to work on Zoom. If you're that kind of thing, you have to show up. And that is that the statistics are that 7 in 10 adults in the United States have smiling depression. And these are very hard, are very hard statistics. And in elders, it's about 25%. And in students, it's about 35% have smiling depression. This is what is happening to the population now. And what I discovered, taking that break away, I got in touch with my own smiling depression, which is you're kind of trudging through the day. And so to break through that, how you normally take a teaspoon of the ESS60? Well, I came back and I started taking 3 heaping teaspoons, and that propelled me into hyperspace. And that's what I needed to get into a new level of thinking. and I'm functioning now. You just saw that 6 minute. We actually busted the dark forces cover up with their UAP. We totally busted. We busted their whole machine. Can you imagine that they did a whole cover up for June 25th? They had the Secretary of Defense and they had the Defense Department and the Pentagon, and they did this thing, 144 cases, and it was really to cover up the quantum access time travel program, and we busted it. And you do that, and I'm functioning at a higher level of thinking now. I'm functioning at super thought. Okay? And no, I'm not manic. I'm actually functioning at a higher level of the brain. You know that we only use a small portion of the brain. So that's what I'm doing, baby. And let me tell you, come on aboard. The train is at the station. Just jump on it and let's move into 5D, the new era, because it's here.
I can just visualize it, like, you know, driving through different states and being somebody that has driven a lot in my life back and forth across country. Can you imagine going to the Alfred Lambremont Webre freaking train station? I'd be like, all about it. And Patty Greer, next stop. Best train ride ever.
Aww. So are you noticing anything from taking it, or are you remembering to take it?
I have so I do take it pretty regularly. I have to be a little bit more disciplined. I you know, I'm taking zeolites. I have my green foods. I have been in the nutrition, herbal, like organic food business since I was 21 years old, and nobody had heard of it. And I went to farms and I didn't make any money. And my clients were chemically sensitive people. And I started to kind of see through why they were chemically sensitive, not just because they were in the wrong place at the wrong time and got annihilated with pesticides, or, you know, Rachel Carson's book talks a lot about, you know, the pesticides of that time and still that we're dealing with. But I got really involved, not so much on a movement level, but just on a visionary sort of personal business level to help people like that. And then I took microbiology to finish my wilderness degree. It was just part of, you know, to get the actual science degree. When I was studying microbiology, I was like, these people really aren't sick. It's a frequency thing. And it has to do with frequency. So my experience of the C60 is that it's just super, super high frequency.
Yes,
but because I'm taking so much stuff and I just have my general regimen that kind of keeps me going, I realized for me to really experience something, I have to kind of not take all this other stuff at the same time, or else I'm like, I don't know what I'm getting benefit from. But the minute I had a spoonful of it and did for like 3 days straight, well, at first, my husband, Kevin, it like cleared his system. I mean, he kind of had stomach issues, but it was obviously like a detox response. Oh, he's over there. He's going to tell us about it.
Yeah, let's hear your testimonial too.
Anyway, he thought, you're peeling potatoes right now? Isn't that so nice if he was going to make us do?
Gotta love it.
But anyway, yeah. So when I took it, I immediately felt it. And I think it's an incredibly important thing. I think it could help people wipe off a lot of countertops with a bunch of other supplements and herbs, you know? And that's always a good thing, man. It's not like I sit there and like just pound a bunch of herbs or supplements. Intuitively, I just kind of, it's like I don't muscle test myself, but in my mind, I'm like, okay, what do you need today? What do you need today? And the minute you sent the Evo stuff and it's right by my bed, I'm like, hello, make sure you take it. So I'm going to give some testimonials, and I know it's worked for you guys. And I know the level of targeting and attack and the physical complications that you've gone through, that just witnessing this and knowing that these are true stories, you know, being friends with you and interacting in conferences, man, if you swear by this, I give it just a good testimonial based on what you guys have to say. My personal experience has been fine. But yeah, I'm like, just sort of kind of maybe taking too much, and maybe I don't need to take any of it and I could just stick to C60. So we'll see if that transition happens. If not, I mean, I absolutely endorse this product and feel really, really good about it. With what you guys have gone through and the high vibration of your energy, certainly is a good deal.
Oh yeah.
It has an amazing thing going on. And no, I need to take it more. Just hanging out with you guys, it's like, man, if you're taking it all the time and you got this level of positive energy and overcoming all the, I mean, both of you have been massively targeted. I have too. And I've had my own ways to mitigate the damages, but yeah, this could be one of the greatest ways. But I need to take more time with it to really give it that full testimonial. But I know if it worked for you and what I've seen already, I highly recommend it.
Well, if Kevin wants to tell us how it affected him and ask me for a second bottle, I'll send you guys 2 instead of 1 next time.
Yeah, but I don't want.
I want you help.
If I don't give back enough, then I'll feel like I'm shortchanging you. But I'll. Anyway, that's for a later discussion.
You give back enough the way you give to the world. You know, sometimes I think I'm here to balance out other things. I'm curious, did you try the facial serum yet, Laura? This stuff has been insane. And I'm not going to do an infomercial, but I'm curious, did you like it? This product, you're muted.
Oh, well, I muted just, because there's background noise. Yo, I've been using it. I mean, I don't know. I stick it on my skin here and there. I never use skincare products. It's like, I'm one of those people, like, I don't read full books. I don't really use anything. And obviously you can tell by my hairdos, like, I'm kind of low maintenance. Maybe I should. Oh my God, but I'm almost 50. It's like, why didn't I figure it out a long time ago?
Well,
getting too personal, but yeah, no, I can tell. No, I just feel it's moisturizing and it's protective. And there's something, I mean, you guys know more about the science of the product that you were getting into, but yeah.
Well, the only last thing I'll say is my partners own the lab that's been making C60 for 30 years. We're the only ones in the world that have been doing it for decades. And lucky me, they're my partners. So I'm coming up with new products all the time. The facial serum, the lip renewal. We've got a luscious lemon body butter that's coming out soon that is going to be over the top. And I have been testing C60, all different brands, in my body since I got hurt. And this stuff, the difference between C60 and ESS60 is this is pure, and this is like percentages. Some of them are industrial grade. But now I know that we can buy pure C60 from the lab, and those are my partners, so that's where we're selling it from. I think it's the best thing I can do for the world, is at least bring something that I think is making a difference for me, for Alfred, for an awful lot of people. And the website is c60evo.com, evolution, like NewsEvolution. It was kind of cute discovering that today, that my intention in life right now, and Laura's and Alfred's, is about the evolution of our consciousness. We're all in this at the same time, making the effort. I don't want to say we're all in this together. It's too trite right now.
Yeah.
But, as I heard your amazing, prolific layout of commentary, Laura, I heard those 5 different chapters of what I was saying, the listen to your higher self. It's not what you see, it's what you don't see. It's like we were doing the same messages again. And then Alfred bringing up ufology, where we've all really learned some hard lessons. But the cool thing is we were in it when there were greats, when there were real researchers mixed in with these 3 initial guys that are there kind of, with their cute suits on, blending in with us. But that's what I miss. And I feel so grateful that I made these films with real researchers, real experiencers, because the films aren't going to go away. That's what's nice. My website, let's all give our website so people can find our material further. But c60evo.com, and my films are cropcirclefilms.com /free. We'll get you 4 of them for free. And the most important one is my final film, which got me in a lot of trouble because I told the truth about the science and that the seeds are creating up to 400% more food and biofuel per plant. Crop Circle Diaries, available for free on my website, cropcirclefilms.com/free. So, love you all. You want last words, you guys, and your websites?
Well, okay, I'll go. My website is cosmicgaia.org. I have a new platform that I do a weekly show on called Conscious Vitality. And it's censorship-free, private servers. And when you subscribe, you're not just going to get a weekly show from me. You're going to gain access to a lot of different people and a protected social media site that, sometimes takes a little while to get used to new platforms because I think everybody's so used to like Facebook and Instagram. But I mean, this is protected and it's really worth, being a part of. You can say anything. You're not going to be banned. There's so many different channels and courses besides just mine. So you can find all that out on cosmicgaia.org. And I pretty much try and keep my website updated as far as, any online events or in-person events, which are getting more difficult at this stage in the game. I feel like this is temporary as far as these restrictions and the tyrannical authority that we're seeing, that it's got to kind of like play out. It's got to kind of like, okay, well, we were planning this for a really long time. And it's like, I don't think so, is what I feel the majority of the world is feeling. And it's just got to like sort of play out. And on the other side of it, a lot of amazing things. So I'm focusing a lot on land projects and, just taking as good a care of, family and myself as possible. But yeah, that's the go-to. I have a movie coming out. I'm an executive producer of. I'll be on some TV stuff. I'm navigating it as best I can because I know they can steer the narrative and kind of screw you over. But my books will be published soon, finally. And I'll just try and keep my website updated. I'm glad I learned how to do a website. It's really not that hard. I mean, I'm the kind of person, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And yet we're all unique. And there's some things that we all can do that none of us can really do. We can only just embrace unity consciousness so that we can share these codes. And this is why there were root races and 5 cloister races that came to this planet. Very different scenario. We're here to share, to ignite dormant DNA. Just because something or someone can do something that we can't. When we embrace it, we switch on these places that might not come naturally. But when we ignite it, we realize it's a part of our wholeness. So we are the greatest blessings to each other. So I always try and push that point that, let's embrace one another and not let this divide and conquer infection steer us away from appreciating the incredible gifts and abundance that comes from just getting along. So yeah, that's a little long version of my website description, but that's pretty much my mission. So I had to just say that diversity and harmony is oneness. And we all have something incredible to bring to the table. And the minute hatred and divide and conquer sets in, kind of miss the mark. And it's not worth it. It's not worth allowing these criminals and false authority systems to do that, because that's not cosmic and natural law. That is not what we're made of. Our divine inheritance seeks to learn and grow from each other. We all have different beautiful gifts to contribute. And our gifts sometimes are our injuries and our illnesses. We can help each other overcome them. And that to me is no different. I don't really like to judge positive or negative. I like to see it as an integrated process where both are blessing us. And sometimes the adversities allow us the greatest growth. So that's, kind of my focus, going into the exo-political stuff and what I hope to express when I'm on some of these networks. And if I'm misunderstood, so be it. But I'm saying it right now. Nobody is kicked out of ascension. Let's love each other enough to integrate and appreciate one another. Drop this cabal mind control. It's like a terrible stepfather, a terrible partner, something that deserves and needs us to divorce from, so that we can experience true love on a creational level. And that's available. Why would anybody want to stay in an abusive relationship with a deceiver, a user, abuser, or narcissist? We need to step away from this system and all that is coming down the pike with more mandates, restrictions, and real sick policies. It's time to do all we can to build this army of light and love. We don't need to fight it. We need to enhance the immunity of ourselves against the spiritual tyranny, because it starts with the spiritual and the energetic. And if we give our power away on that level, it steps down to the physical. And yeah, people are going to get sick, whether they get the whatever or whether it's just the virus spreading around. This is a major initiation. So, man, that went a little longer than I expected, but you guys, yeah. Well, I'm good at doing that. But no, it's an initiation for us to emerge from this cocoon without bumping our head on the prison wall that they're trying to put around this metamorphic transformational process that humanity is currently going through. And what I live for is to remind people that there's no way in hell that makes sense. And if you do buy into it and fall into that pit, you got your higher self that is going to step in. And it might show up as benevolent ETs or some council you might have been a part of or something else. You know, just know the minute you get a clue, no matter what your choices have been, whether you've been a whore, a prostitute, a crack addict, a manipulator, a dark man, it doesn't matter, both sides of the fence. The minute a person gets a clue, I feel like the grace from God, Goddess, Earth, Cosmos, 0-point unified field will begin to heal a person and align them with synchronicities to heal what might seem impossible to heal. And that is all forgiven. But we have to connect with ourselves enough to stand in alignment with that energy that will provide us that grace. And I think it starts with self-forgiveness and being like, oh my God. So yeah, I need to shut up, but thank you for being my friends, and you guys inspire me so much. And I love that we're still doing this. It's like, I was telling Kevin, I'm like, man, this goes back. We've been hanging out for so long. Really cool. So anyway, what are your guys' thoughts before we close?
Yeah, I just want to share my websites and some of the tools that I have to offer for people. And one is that, and Laura and Patty have been great supporters of this. We have a Tribunal of Conscience, and you can find that at internationaltribunal.world, internationaltribunal.world. And it's a natural and common law tribunal, and people from all over the world write in on a daily basis. I have lawyers from countries all over the world writing in because they can take our stuff and use it in their countries, or they can download our judgments and use it to walk around. And it gives them an envelope of freedom, because you can carry our certificates with you and your family and your friends, and you're protected. It lists like the 6 or 7 international laws that protect you, and say, no, you're protected against these measures which are unlawful. So that's internationaltribunal.world. And, go there. It's all free. And then we have you can go to universebooks.com, and we have, you can pick up the books on exopolitics there. We're the originator of exopolitics, which is the science of intelligent civilizations in the multiverse, and you can pick up that book there. You can pick up our trilogy on the Omniverse. Our 2014 book documented, in a way, discovered the Omniverse, which is the third major cosmological body through which humanity comprehends the cosmos, after the universe, which was discovered in 3400 BC by the Sumerian astronomers, and the multiverse, which was discovered in 1895 by the American scientist William James. Well, now you can get into the Omniverse. And so, boom, just go there, and it's in electronic copies or soft cover. It's all very, very reasonable. And you can read my 750-page book, My Journey Landing Heaven on Earth, which is my sort of autobiography, which has been, there's all sorts of, fancy praise has been given to it, but it even describes how Jimmy Carter, Andy Bashago, and I were abducted by the same group of positive extraterrestrials, and that got Jimmy Carter prepared to be president. He was one of the few non-reptilians, and myself to be his director of the extraterrestrial project, and Andy Bashago to be the witness that we were aboard the ET craft. So there's a lot there, and you'll learn how then they had to bring in George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan, who served the reptilians to take Jimmy Carter out because in 1980. So he had only one term, and you'll see how affairs are run, Anyway, you might as well find out the most you can while you're here on your sojourn on Earth. So thanks a lot for tuning in to another chapter of News Evolution. I tell you, there's no other program like it on Earth.
Not with the three of us. Love y'all.
But here's the
I love it. I love our collaboration here. I'm so glad that we're doing this, and we're doing this. Love you guys. Thanks so much.
You.
Okay.
See you next
Take
time.
care.
You get better salaries and
All right.
better
Bye, you guys.
benefits.
Bye.